Hello, my name is Gabe Zolna. Remember way back when before we got involved in the Iraq War, there was all kinds of talks about weapons of mass destruction, and they had people going over there and investigating this and investigating that. And then it was determined, I think even General Colin Powell, he said that there was weapons of mass destruction that they've pretty much identified. And so what ended up happening was we launched our military action against Iraq. And we've lost thousands of people in that conflict. And the justification for having gone into Iraq was weapons of mass destruction, and we found that there really weren't any. And what I said back then was, by invading Iraq, what Bush has done is he's opened up Pandora's box. And there's no way of closing it. And that, I think, has proven to be very factual. One of the things that Saddam Hussein wanted people to think is that he did have weapons of mass destruction. And that's how he kept all of his neighbors on a short leash. Iran, Syria, all those bordering countries were afraid of him because they knew how ruthless he was. Now, there's no question, both he and his sons were mentally disturbed for having done what they did to their own people. But at the same time, he did keep the lid on the rest of the Middle East. And as soon as he was removed, there was a power vacuum that was created. And then we're sort of suffering the consequences of the power vacuum. One of the problems we have in this country is when we have a president that pretty much imposes his own will on the American people. And Congress tends to go along with them. What I will give Bush credit for, unlike the guy we got there now, at least President Bush asked for congressional approval. And he got that based on erroneous and dubious information, but he still asked for it, and he got it, so he followed the Constitution. Obama didn't do that when he decided to launch an attack against Libya. Gaddafi's forces were beating back the rebels that Obama was supplying weapons to, so Obama thought he'd level the field by, attacking them with our Air Force. But he didn't bother to ask Congress for approval. And so what I really think we have here is a situation unlike what we had back with Bush. At least, again, Bush did ask for congressional approval. The problem is that our congressional representatives tend not to know what they're doing. And that became very apparent today when Rand Paul said what he did. And he submitted a proposal to not allow the additional F-16s and the Bradley fighting machines to be shipped to Egypt because we don't know who we're shipping it to, I mean, right now, Mohammed Morsi is probably fighting for his life. And if he wins, it's still not a good idea that he gets those weapons. And if he loses, it's even a worse idea. And to have 80% of Congress vote against the initiative that Rand Paul proposed, which was to curtail those deliveries, shows you how out of touch and how uncaring our members of Congress are. And they don't care about the American people. The only thing they care about is self-preservation and continuing to live the luxurious lifestyle that they've all grown accustomed to live. Whose fault is it? Well, it's ours, because we allow it. Can we stop it? Probably not. Can we stop Obama from destroying this country? Probably not. And he does it right in front of our eyes. Anyway, I just thought I'd provide that little bit of information because I wanted people to know that, once again, when Bush first launched the war into Iraq, I had told all my friends that I see him opening Pandora's box and there's no closing it. And there is no closing it. That conflict started, 10 years ago? And we're going to find, as soon as our military comes out of Afghanistan, that that entire part of the world will revert back to being controlled by the Sunnis and the Muslim Brotherhood. And all those lives that were lost would have been lost for nothing. All those unfortunate military service men and women that were maimed and mutilated, for nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's pretty sad, isn't it? But that's what happens when you have a government out of control, and when you have senators and congressmen that really are clueless, and when you have presidents that are looking to try to settle a score. What I had heard back then was the main reason that Bush wanted to go into Iraq is because Saddam Hussein had supposedly put a contract down on his father's life. Now, whether or not that's true, I have no idea, but that is what I had heard, and I believe there is some truth to it. If you find out anything specific, I'd be interested in knowing. Anyway, it is what it is, and every day is a new adventure, isn't it? Every single day. Distract, divert, to deceive. Where should the focus be? On Benghazi. If the focus is on Benghazi, this nightmare will end. There is no way that Obama can hide from what he did. But somebody's got to shine a light on it. Thanks.